Hi everybody, Dr. Glenn with you as you ride into work with me today. It's a beautiful Thursday morning, a little overcast in Southern California, but the sun's going to come out as it usually does around 10, 11 o'clock, and it's usually a good day to be alive. Anyway, good to be with you. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of the antidotes to the horseman, and people ask me sometimes, well, which one does this one go with? The antidote, some of the antidotes seem to line up with each of the horsemen. For instance, criticism, the antidote you've heard me share is to complain gently. And defensiveness, it's to take responsibility. And so some of these line up. And the one I'm going to talk to you about today is self-soothing and self-regulation. And I'm going to be using a term called flooding to talk about that. But people say, well, which antidote is this? Well, this can actually fall in a couple of them. In my opinion, it can also be very helpful for contempt, even though the antidote for contempt is to cultivate appreciation for your spouse and fondness and to build gratitude. So when you're actively doing that, in a way that's really productive, you are actually moving the other way from contempt. But I use it for contempt as well for this one, self-soothing, because sometimes people have been hurt by the horseman and they've been in relationships that have happened again and again, and all their best efforts and attempts have failed, and they get really frustrated quickly. And when the body gets frustrated again and again, typically adrenaline is released into the bloodstream. Usually it could be anywhere up to 6 cc's immediately into your bloodstream. Your heart can start pounding, your autonomic nervous system starts working, and it's designed to help you in a state of distress to actually run faster, climb trees, get away from bears, jump over snakes, run, lift things up that require extra human strength and that kind of thing. And that's the intent of the autonomic nervous system, to keep you alive. So that process works when people are in a state of distress, whether it's they're greatly troubled in anger and they're seeing red. Usually they're flooded with adrenaline and their blood flow is really high. Their breathing becomes shallowed. All their blood is circulating around their major organs. All their extremities, their hands and feet, can become cold and clammy due to the blood being extracted around their organs. Of course, I'm talking about this in extreme cases, whether you're having a panic attack, but sometimes when people see red, they're flooded too, and they can have adrenaline. They're just pumped up and they just feel like they want to punch a wall, and this is why their thinking goes south and they aren't thinking clearly. So the reason it's an important thing for you to know is that if you were to register or take your blood or heart rate, if it is typically over 100 beats per minute, you are probably flooded. Or if you're an athlete and it's over 80, then you're probably flooded. And you need to know that when you are in a flooded state with your spouse, it is not a good thing, because you are not going to be able to move into a place of taking that conversation into a place of repair or into dialogue where you're being influenced by your partner, you're open to ideas, you are considering ways to compromise and that kind of thing. And so one of the techniques and one of the things that is very important to do when you find yourself in the battle with the four horsemen is to practice self-regulation and to understand if you get flooded. And sometimes it appears like you're stonewalling and you're just kind of shut down. And so things that your partner is saying, you're not really hearing. And that's really, it's devastating to your partner because they don't feel valued and they're hurt and have more and more contempt. And then you are just trying to defend yourself. You're in a state of flooding. You're trying to protect yourself in one way or another. You're not going to be in a place to really engage in a conversation. So to understand flooding and self-regulation is real important with couples that come into a state where they're in a dynamic of the four horsemen operating pretty regularly in their relationship. So what do we do with that? Well, the first thing is just to stop. If you find yourself in a flooded state and you're just not really thinking clearly and your anger's going, or you feel like you just need protection and you're hiding and you can't talk, just say, I need some time. And this is important. A 5-minute walk to the sink to get a drink of water may not be enough time. Scientists and researchers have told us that we need at least 20 minutes for some of that adrenaline, for some of our blood to get to a place where we're regulating and we're starting to breathe. So what you can do is just say, I need to stop right now. Let's revisit this in about, see where I'm at after 20 minutes. Give yourself a 20-minute break. You can do a number of things, but some of the most important things to do would be to regulate your breathing and just go someplace where you can breathe deeply. Try to oxygenate your blood as best you can. And you want to be able to move from shallow breathing into a deeper breathing, which allows more oxygen to get in your bloodstream. That's important because that oxygen, your brain needs that in order to think clearly. Part of the reason why you're not going to be at your best when you're flooded is because there's less oxygen in your bloodstream, and you're not going to be able to use all your frontal cortex, all the parts of your brain that are necessary for critical decisions and for clear thinking. So that's why you have to take a break, and it helps both people in the relationship when you do, yourself and your partner. So if you can delay the conversation to be in about 20 minutes, that will be a real help to you and your partner. So that's one thing, you focus on your breathing. The other thing is to sometimes do some visualization. Now it sounds like it really won't work. How will that help me in my marriage if I just do visualization for 20 minutes? But what it's doing, you don't want to use that 20 minutes to start formulating how you're going to get back or what you're going to say. You might have been really hurt, or you fear being really hurt by your partner. And so this is not a time to think, okay, how can I best hide more or whatever. It's a time for you to understand that your body just needs more oxygen in its bloodstream, in your bloodstream, and you just need some more time so that you can regulate to be you. You want to be you, but you want to be the best you in that conversation. So don't use that time to think of better arrows or darts to throw at your partner. So you use that time to visualize a place of relaxation. Your body cannot be relaxed and stressed at the same time, or anxious at the same time. So picture places where you've been relaxed before. Go someplace to focus on your breathing. Picture yourself. I like to go surfing every Saturday, and I just always see a serene, ocean view where there's, the waves aren't too big. It's just kind of up and down, but it's really peaceful. It's very serene, and it helps me just to feel a real calm. And if you have a place like that, whether it's in the forest or it's a walk someplace, or it's just a view that really causes you to feel calm, that's what you would want to meditate on or visualize during that 20 minutes. So that's some real helpful advice right there, just what you can do for that 20 minutes, and then return back to your partner for that conversation of repair. I'll have another tape about what that conversation looks like, but this is a little bit, I'm at work, I got to go in right now, but this is a little bit about one of the antidotes, how to self-regulate, how to calm yourself when you feel flooded, and how to approach a conversation more gently as you move towards compromise and allowing influence to come from your partner. And this can happen more easily when you actually feel more regulated and you're not flooded. Hopefully that helps, and look for more next time. Have a great day.